Happy opening day, everybody. Chris, good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
It is raining like cats and dogs here in the DMV, and tonight's game, which was originally set for the Mets and the Nationals to open at 4 o'clock, has been moved to 7:10. And as I look outside, the old saying goes, the weather outside is frightful. It's raining, and so we'll see if the Mets and the Nationals get their game started tonight. But all in all, a month ago, it didn't look like we were going to be here, and now we're here. So good on everybody. I hope everybody has a good season, and we'll see how it goes.
Sounds like you got the rain that was here about 2 o'clock this morning, where it was dumping buckets for probably until about 5 a.m. and then it cleared out. So it must have just moved itself up the coast.
It's heading this way, yes, sir. It's past us and moving on to. Well, I think New York, of course, they postponed theirs till tomorrow.
Right.
It might have been the wise choice. Couple of things, folks. Starting tomorrow night, there will be a Friday night baseball game on Apple Plus TV for those of you who are streamers. It's free, so you don't have to subscribe to Apple TV to watch it. And it happens to be the Mets and the Nationals. So tomorrow night, Friday night baseball from here on out will be on Apple TV. Another one, Chris, that's interesting this year, because we have a whole bunch of different streaming partners for those who like to watch baseball. NBC Peacock signed a deal, and they will have what is going to be called Sunday morning baseball. So the games will actually start at noon on Peacock starting this week, and starting next week. And ESPN will only have one game a week, which will be the Sunday game. And so there's a little bit of baseball, a little bit of everywhere this time around. You have to look, we'll try to keep you posted on where they are. TBS moves to Tuesday night, so they'll have a Tuesday night game. So yeah, it's all over the place. But good news is baseball is back.
Yeah, the one thing I saw about that Peacock deal is now no other Sunday games can start before 1:30 once that deal goes into place, which will be weird for some of those teams that are used to playing at 1:05 or 12:05, things like that. But it's nice to see they're diversifying where you can catch games. The question is, will you get to see other teams than the ones that we usually see on TV? I mean, otherwise you're still stuck either hoping that you're in the market of the team you want to watch or getting MLB TV like I have, so I can just watch whatever I want.
It's on my phone. We can watch it together. The thing that is curious about this, Chris, to me anyway, as someone who's programmed this stuff for years, is that you want to get out to as many people as possible. But the one thing that drives me bloody crazy is if I see another Red Sox Yankees game, I'm honestly God gonna throw up. Okay, I'm tired of it. Okay, I'm tired of it. The world does not care about the Yankees and the Red Sox as much as the networks seem to care about the Yankees and the Red Sox. Now, maybe
you could say the same thing about the Dodgers and the Giants or things like that, those big rivalries. But yeah, they do get overplayed to the point where nobody wants to watch them because, in the case of those teams, they play 19 times a year anyway.
Right.
I don't need to see all 19 of them on national TV.
No, and look, I don't mind. Look, I would love to see an occasional Yankees and Red Sox game, an occasional Dodgers and Giants games. I mean, that's fine. That's all part of it. The same thing with the Cubs and the Cardinals. Fine. That's great. But, show us a little bit of the other teams from time to time. I mean, there's a lot of teams. We don't get to see the Angels. We don't get to see the Mariners. We don't get to see a lot of those teams that are the White Sox. A lot of teams that are, quote unquote, they're there to be the Jays, another example. So there are a lot of teams we don't get to see nationally that are entertaining teams, but we got to, when the networks are so damn New York centric, you end up getting the Mets and the Yankees and the Red Sox, and and it's just, after a while, it's numbing. I just, show me some of the other games. Again, like you, I've got MLB TV. I can watch whatever I want, whenever I want. So, okay, fine, good for me. But it's not great for the rest of the country, and it's not good for baseball, honestly. If you're trying to desperately, because we're the stars, right? The young stars are, the guys you want to see are the Vlad Guerrero Juniors, right?
Right.
And those kind of guys. And a great line, by the way. I wish I could take credit for it, but I can't. I will for the moment, but I will attribute it. Vlad Guerrero Jr., because of course being a Buffalonian is it?
Yep.
Is that
that's what it's called.
Okay, Buffalonian. Being a Buffalonian, the Jays played in Dunedin for 6 weeks.
Yep.
Last year. They went to Buffalo for how long was it?
For about 6-8 weeks, a couple months.
And then
they played there the whole short season too.
Yeah, and then they ended up going to Toronto to finish out the season. I gotta wonder if they would have played in Toronto the entire season, if they may not have had a better result. It's so tough when you're a player to play, 6 weeks here, 6 weeks there, and really not have a home. And it does wear on you. And you're playing in different ballparks. You're playing frankly in minor league ballparks, even though, in fairness to both Dunedin and the folks in Buffalo, they spent a lot of money to upgrade the parks to make them, as close to lighting-wise as you can to a major league ballpark. But most of the guys I've spoken to over the years about, who are Major League Baseball players, I was talking to Jason Worth, and Jason was telling me the biggest problem that you have when you move from the minor leagues to the major leagues is you only have, like in a minor league ballpark, you have one or maybe just two levels, right? When you get to major leagues, if you're looking at home plate, you're looking and it goes up like 10 stories because you're about 4 levels or 3 levels up, right? So you can pick the ball up when it's hit off of the bat a little better actually in a major league stadium than you can in a minor league stadium, because a minor league stadium, A, the lighting's not quite as good, and B, you're looking at the sky trying to figure out where the ball is. So as crazy as it sounds, it's actually more difficult to pick a ball up in minor league baseball than it is, in a major league ballpark. So, playing in different locales like that, I think the Jays are going to have a good year. That whole division, the whole AL East, is going to be a mess with, from a standpoint of everybody's, has the potential of being a contender, except, of course, the team about 25 minutes away from me in Camden Yard. So there's that. But, I think there's that. The central of the American League is that's a cluster. I mean, that could be anybody. The White Sox.
Anybody except the Pirates.
Well, no, I'm talking about the American League. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. True.
That's pretty much. Who knows? Kansas City could even sneak into the playoffs. That would not be necessarily. Maybe they'd be a year ahead of time. And the AL West is stacked. Oakland dumped out, but the Angels got better, and the Mariners certainly got better. And Houston is Houston, so there's that. So it's really crazy. And over in the National League, again, East is top heavy. 3 teams at least. I'm not going to say the Nationals, and I know that a lot of people like the Mariners. The Marlins, but I'll watch and see. But the Phillies and the Mets spent a lot of money, and we'll see if it pays off for them. And the Braves, of course, are the Braves. Even without Freddie Freeman, and like you said, you're a devotee of the Central Division of the National League, and that's a bit of a. I mean, I know the Milwaukee and the Cardinals are supposed to be the class, but again, I, to me, there's a lot of uncertainty there as well. And out west, it's ridiculous. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. I mean, they're an all-star team. Does San Diego pick up? I mean, I don't think they have the pitching, but we'll see to challenge.
Well, San Diego's got good pitching, and I just don't know how their offense is going to hold up without Tatis, and then can Myers and Hosmer perform better than they did last season? They've got Darvish, they've got Blake Snell, and they've got Mike Clevenger supposed to be back this month. They've got some arms. It's just a matter of whether they can score any runs.
Well, Blake Snell's a 5-inning pitcher, if he's that.
So is everybody these days.
Yeah, that's true too. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, the Padres last year, they fell apart at the end of the year because their starting pitching couldn't get them to the bullpen. Then when they got to the bullpen suddenly fell apart. So they had issues. I mean, I don't think the Giants are going to win 107 games this year. Sorry to say that, Giants fans, but it was an interesting season to say the least. So let's before we got a whole bunch of people in the comment section already, guys. Promise we'll get to you real soon. Let's take a sec, okay, and talk a little bit about excuse me, about our buddies over at Caesar Sportsbook. Now, Caesar Sportsbook giving you first bet insurance. Now, what that simply means is you can go ahead and bet and screw up and miss it, all right? And they'll give you a second chance. It's not often, folks, you get a second chance in this world. Take it when you can, and especially in the wagering aspect of it. So, our friends at Caesars is going to give you $1,100 first bet insurance. So the first time wager of up to $1,100. If you don't win, they'll give you a second shot at it. Okay, but here's the key: you got to use our promo code right there in the box in front of us. Go to below to the show box below. Open it up. Click on the Caesars link and apply. And use it, folks. And, as we said before, two things. You must be 21 years of age to participate, and always, always, always be very careful and bet, responsibly. Okay? All right. So that's our buddies at Caesars. So for the first time, because we haven't done any of the preseason, interesting preseason games. We haven't done any of that. This is the first. We should have music to say.
Yeah, you need to get on that stuff. You need to be like Steen with the the soundboard or whatever.
I'm sorry, I don't have the sound effects. Maybe I do. Let me see if I have a sound effect. Let me try a sound effect real quick. See if I can come up with something. How about some crowd noise? How's that, Chris? You do that for you?
Yeah, that works for you.
Okay, so some crowd noise. Stop it. Thank you. All right, so that was our crowd noise. And without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 first edition, Chris King and Parlays from Baseball. Dun, 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 dun.
You said it's 2022, Jim, so you just said it was 2020.
Did I say 2020?
You said 2020.
I'm in a time loop, Chris. What can I tell you?
He went back to the future, guys. Somebody go find Marty.
Yeah, went to see Marty McFly. All right, so.
Sly Tatis, in case you didn't know, had wrist surgery. He broke his wrist or injured his wrist in spring training. He's supposed to be out until around the All-Star break is the current expectation. So that's why you won't see him until probably July.
My guess.
Speaking of baseball, I know everybody's talking about the Brewers and the Cubs. Frankly, I'm getting sick and tired of Major League Baseball's lack of initiative of coming up with different meetings early in the season. This is about the 73rd year in a row I've seen the Brewers and the Cubs open up at Wrigley Field. They did it. I remember back in the days when another Japanese guy was making his debut in Chicago, and that was Kosuke Fukudome when, he made his debut in Chicago.
Man,
Way
that's been
back.
a while.
Yeah, exactly. And they faced the Brewers on opening day that year back in 2008. It was Ben Sheets pitching for the Brewers on that particular afternoon. So frankly, it'd be nice if baseball would, change things up. It gets a little old seeing the same matchups year after year. But moving on, we'll go with our favorite pick of the day here when it comes to baseball. And that's, of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Are we going to start fading the Pirates already on opening day?
Why not?
I'm just asking.
The Pirates, a doormat in Major League Baseball. Their team payroll is about $8. They won 61 games last season, and even that seems like a stretch when you got right down to it. They're 24-57 on the road. The Cardinals, of course, went 90-72 on the strength of that 18-game win streak in September. They then turned around and fired Mike Matheny, Mike Shilton. I'm sorry. So it'll be Oliver Marmol as the new manager of the Cardinals, and his starting pitcher today is older than he is. So, in fact, his starting battery is older than he is because I'm sure it'll be Yadier Molina behind the plate.
Yes, sir.
For the Redbirds. JT Brubaker, this is who the Pirates call an ace. The guy won 5 games last year. I guess when you only win 61, that can qualify as an ace in some circles. However, he had an earned run average of 5.36 in his career last season with a 1.295 whip over 124 in the third innings. Adam Wainwright, who is about 406 years old, back for another season. He was 17-7 with a 3.05 ERA, threw 206 in the third innings for the Cards last year. And if you look, the Pirates struggled offensively, and that's being generous. 3.76 runs a game last year, dead last in the majors. They were even worse on the road as they put up 3.44 runs a game. The Cardinals weren't great offensively. They were 21st with 4.34 runs a game, 29th at home. But Wainwright, he's had a lot of success in his career against Pittsburgh, 21-7 with a 3.73 ERA, a 1.229 whip, 73 walks, and 227 strikeouts over 265 in the third innings and 47 career appearances. 41 of those are starts against the Pirates. And if anybody besides Marlowe can name more than 3 Pirates in the starting lineup, I'd be impressed because, let's face it, they aren't very good. And they've traded away all the players that anybody knew outside of Cabrian Hayes and Brian Reynolds. And I'm waiting for them to pull the trigger and turn around and deal him too, because God knows if he wants to make more than $8 a year, which is about all Pittsburgh pays. The Cards 6-1 in the last 7 series openers. They're 13-3 in their last 16 against the National League Central. Pirates 14-42 in their last 56 as a road underdog. I was impressed they won 14 out of those 56, and they're 14-43 in their last 57 on the road overall. The Moneylines got a favorable juice to it as you're actually getting a plus number on that. I'd like to think the Cardinals can beat up Brubaker and put some runs on the board in this contest. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh. Good luck finding anybody that's going to make a dent as far as production in their lineup. According to Fangraphs, I was looking at their depth chart yesterday, and I'm just looking at it, I'm like, who the hell are these guys? It's kind of like this opening of Major League when they're talking about all the names, and they're like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
They've got Daniel Vogelbach. Apparently, they signed as a free agent from the Brewers, and they've got Brian Reynolds and Brian Hayes, and there's Yoshi Tsutsugu, Kevin Newman, Kyle Tucker, Ben Gamble, Roberto Perez, and their second baseman is marked as Hoy Park, who they got in a trade with the Yankees last season. Good luck if you know who he is, because I don't think he's played much at the major league level.
Let me speak out on this one for just a moment. I grew up a Pirates fan. Okay, my parents, I was born in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Florida, but we went back every year to watch Pirates. I was a big Pirates fan. This is a shame because Pittsburgh is a fantastic sports town. You can go there, and it's hard to get a ticket for the hockey team, for the Pens. It's hard to get a ticket for the Steelers. they support. Hell, they even go to the Pirates games. I'm mad at Major League Baseball because the first person who wanted to buy this team back when was Mark Cuban. When Mark made the money, the first thing he wanted to do was buy the Pirates. Mark's from Pittsburgh. Major League Baseball decided not to sell it to them. They said, no, the McClatchy family is exactly who we want. Well, let me just tell you, the ownership of the Tampa Bay of the Pittsburgh Pirates have taken nothing from Billy Beane and Oakland or the Rays or any of the small market teams and done anything with it. So, I'm sorry. This is a mess that the league had every opportunity, because there have been numerous opportunities to sell the team to people who would actually put money into it. And it bothers the hell out of me to see that they have a gorgeous stadium in Pittsburgh. Fans go out, they follow them. Their TV ratings are amazing for a team that doesn't win. And you said it, Chris, they trade away their best players, but what do they end up with? They are not building anything either. So I don't know what they're doing, but I will say this. Any owner in Major League Sports, regardless of what the sport may be, we'll start with baseball here, if you're not going to engage and try to put a competitive team on the field, then get the hell out of ownership.
Well, I think an interesting prop bet would be who's going to get run out of baseball first. Will it be Bob Castellini in Cincinnati? And that's called foreshadowing, kids.
Right.
Or will it be Bob Nutting in Pittsburgh? Because, he's already turned down Mario Lemieux, who wanted to buy the team. He turned away Thomas Tull, who was a minority owner of the Steelers.
Right.
Like you said, Cuban was turned down when Nutting was becoming the majority owner from McClatchy.
Right.
And obviously their payroll, I think, is about $12 this season. I know it's the lowest in the major. I think there's guys making more. I think Max Scherzer makes more money this year than the entire Pirates major league team. According to Spotrac, the Pirates payroll for this year on the active players, $25 million. They still have $10 million in suspended restricted salaries for guys Felipe Vasquez, who hasn't pitched in like 3 years, and they retained $3 million of Gregory Polanco's deal. So they've got more than half of their active payroll in suspended and retained salary, because that's $13 million against a $25.575 million payroll. It doesn't make sense. I mean, I get Pittsburgh's not a massive market, but they're better than this.
It's not a bad market. That's the funny thing.
And Marlon said, thanks for beating that drum. Bob Nutting said he's giving the team to his daughters.
Well,
great. So, Marlo, if I were you, if you jumped on any other team's fan base, I don't think anybody would fault you for it. You're probably one of the 3 remaining Pirates fans on the Jolly Roger right now. Those halcyon days of 2013 to 2015, when Pittsburgh seemed relevant, when they had Garrett Cole and all those guys, probably seems like an eternity ago.
I will tell you that my family still has season tickets. They've had season tickets to Pittsburgh Pirates since 1947.
Does it cost them about $6?
No, it does not. Believe me, it's just as expensive as any other team in the league. So, but what are you getting for it, right?
I guess they're getting the Primanti Brothers sandwiches, because I imagine they have a stand somewhere in the park. Yeah,
there's got to be some reason. But I mean, the Pirates are in the same boat that the Orioles are in Baltimore with the Angelos family. It's just like, come on, if you don't want to try, fine, don't try. Sell the damn team. Sell it to somebody who cares. And there's, as you just pointed out, and I tried to point out, there have been ample opportunities for the Pirates to be sold, and they just haven't been sold. So, somebody's making money, and it's not right.
And Bill, I like Shane Bieber over 6.5 strikeouts today against the Royals. Kansas City is a bit of a free swinging team when you get right down to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Bieber, we know, as long as he's healthy, can whiff some batters. In his career, I'm just going to take a quick look here. Bieber against the Royals has averaged, let's see,
By the
So
way, I was at the last Pirate. They were talking about Pirates history. I was at the last Pirates game in the playoffs when they played against the Braves in the famous um, game there when
back in
Sid
'92
Bream,
with Francisco Cabrera.
yeah, Sid Bream gets a hit to beat them. Um,
Yeah, that's like an ex-Pirate beating you.
yeah, there you go. And Ryan
Uh,
Page says, "What do you think about single bets on the money line, underdogs, hockey, and baseball?" We're for it
Yeah,
sometimes.
can't hurt. I mean, all you need is a few of those to hit, and you end up in the plus.
Timmy Earl says that Marlo, the Mets fans will accept you.
The
So
Mets fans will accept anybody pretty much.
it's
But to Bill's question, Bieber has fanned 74 Royals in 56 and 2/3 innings in his career. So he averages 11.8 whiffs per nine. I think that he should get over 6.5. Just out of curiosity, let me see where Kansas City was last year as far as strikeouts, because I'm pretty sure they like to get punched out a lot because they got a lot of free swingers on that team that tend to chase bad pitches. Let's see. The Royals, well, they weren't as bad as I thought. They actually weren't as strikeout prone as I expected. But I still think with Bieber stuff, and you got a lot of young guys in that lineup. Bobby Witt Jr. is going to make his debut today. I still think it's going to I'll end up over that mark.
and at the risk of upsetting my co-host, who I don't ever like to do that, but St. Louis fans are among the best in the league because in baseball, frankly, and because when you go there and somebody from the other team does well, they actually give you props on that one too. So the Cardinal fans are good fans.
Oh, and look at that. Corbin Burns, who struck out, 57 guys last year before walking anybody,
Yeah.
walked the first batter today as he walked Rafael Ortega on 5 pitches.
Well, it gets it out of the way. That way now you don't have to worry about it. There's a bet that they're asking. He bet 7.
Ooh, Tatum and Horford have been ruled out now.
Oh, that's a basketball. Sorry, guys.
No, that's okay. We can touch on it real quick. I didn't know that must have come out recently that they ruled Tatum out. Let me just double check. I'm imagining that line's going to balloon now, probably past 7.
Probably.
I know it was 6.5 earlier. I'm just checking to see if the league injury report lists that they're out or if this is a media report or what. Yeah, Horford out, Stauskas, and Tatum. Yeah, so they'll still have Jaylen Brown, but to be fair, I liked the Bucks going into this at 6.5 as it was, just because Milwaukee had the day off yesterday. The Celtics had to beat up on Chicago before coming up for this one. They could potentially cover, but if Antetokounmpo's playing and stuff, it could be a uphill battle for the Celtics, especially playing the second game of back-to-back. And without Horford, I don't know. You're banking a lot on Daniel Theis to be able to slow down Antetokounmpo, and I'm not 100% convinced that can take place. It's always tough the way these things come out early.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we leave the Gateway City, and we go to the Braves and the Reds.
Yeah, remember we just said it was called foreshadowing of Bob Castellini.
That's right.
The Reds now get to go to Atlanta, who get to open up their defense of their World Series crown, which personally I think should not exist. But what can you do? Sure, the Reds were above 500 last year. They were 83 and 79. Of course, if you look at this year's Reds team compared to last year's Reds team, you'd think you were looking at the Pirates because half their team is gone. The Braves, of course, were only 88 and 73 in the regular season, but got hot at the right time and went on to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Mahle, 13 and 6 with a 375 earned run average and a 1.233 whip over 180 innings and 33 starts. Going to pitch for the Reds against Max Fried, who went 14 and 7 with a 304 earned run average, a 1.087 whip over 165.2 innings and 28 starts. He was very good in the second half of the season. Let's not take anything away from him there. You look down the stretch, I believe he had an ERA under 2 in the second half of the year, not counting the playoffs. Yeah, second half, Fried 8 and 2 with a 174 earned run average, 16 walks and 86 strikeouts over 93 innings in 14 starts. The Reds were 8th in runs per game last year at 4.85. That dropped to 4.17 on the road. And when you look at the lineup, they don't have Jesse Winker now. They traded him. They traded Eugenio Suarez, who was good for power, even though he only batted about $1.99 last year. And Tucker Barnhart is also out of town. And from the rotation, you've traded Sonny Gray. Wade Miley was picked up on waivers by the Cubs. So it's a much different Reds team. They've got Joey Votto, and I guess you could look to guys like Jonathan India and Nick Senzel if Senzel can stay healthy. But that's another big if when you get right down to it. He missed a lot of time last season as well. The Braves, I'll admit it, pretty much the only team in the National League that I hate more than the Braves is the Cardinals.
Good to see you, Euchre. Yeah, the Braves. Not a fan of them. I've never been a fan of the Braves, but I've been. I respect the organization. They have, what John Sherholtz built in Atlanta, along with Stan Kasten. The 15 consecutive, winning seasons, 14 playoff appearances. I mean, yeah, they won one World Series, but the consistency and the good farm system that the Braves built has served them well.
They traded Winker, Ryan. He went in a trade to Seattle with Suarez.
Right.
Castellanos left as a free agent. He signed with Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
So both those guys are out of the mix.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves 9th in runs per game last year. They were 9th in runs per game at home, so at least they were consistent. They're 5-0 in their last 5 as a home favorite, 12-2 in their last 14 at home, 8-2 in their last 10 against the Central. The Reds are 1-5 in their last 6 on the road against a left-handed starter.
We'll get there a little bit, bud.
0-4 in their last 4 at an underdog, and 0-4 in their last 4 as a road underdog. Ninja, if you want to take the Reds, by all means, go ahead. I just can't have faith in a team that gutted the middle of their lineup in an effort to try and, I guess, save money. Because Bob Castellani and Bob Nutting are peas in the same pod. They don't want to put money into the product. And it's too bad because Cincinnati had a pretty good club.
Mm-hmm.
Trading Sonny Gray out of their rotation is going to hurt them as well. Tim, are you just saying that because it's the Braves? Are you going to be like me where if the Cardinals are playing the Cubs, I would just take the Cubs anyway? Because let's face it, the Reds are not the team they were a year ago by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and the interesting thing is there was a long-standing tradition in the National League that the Reds opened at home on opening day.
Yeah.
And now that long-standing tradition isn't a tradition any longer. So the Braves and the Reds playing at Truist Field.
Yeah, I wish these people would quit changing the freaking names of the park. It gets old where you've got to try and figure out what the name is this year because they can't stick with a freaking sponsor. It makes you yearn for the days of, Skip Carey and Pete Van Weeren with Don Sutton coming to you from Fulton County Stadium.
Yep. Back in the day of TBS. All right, so those are your baseball games. We have any more baseball? We're going on to hockey now.
No, we're going to go on to hockey.
Heading to the ice. Onto the ice we go.
And look, it's the Flames again. We talked about them yesterday.
It's like Groundhog Day.
And they won.
Yeah.
They finally beat the Ducks after going 4-32 in their previous 36 trips to the Honda Center. Now they're 5-32 in their last 37. So, you take what you can get. They're facing the Sharks. Unfortunately for Ryan, the Sharks are actually playing. I know that he's pretty much mailed it in after they lost to Arizona and everybody else. The Flames 42-19-9. They're 21-11-2 on the road. The Sharks 29-31-9 on the year. Ryan, you gave up on the Sharks when they lost the other day to Arizona, and then they lost to Edmonton, and then they lost to somebody else, and I forgot who it was. They're 16-15-5 at home. Dan Vladar 9-5-1 with a 284 goals against, 904 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Is expected to get the start in net since Markstrom started yesterday against the Ducks. It'll be Capo Kakinen, 12-10-3 with a 308 goals against, a 906 save percentage. He's struggled a bit since he came over from the Wild. Hopefully, he can turn it around next season, but the Sharks are going nowhere this year as it stands. Flames 7th in goals for, a 347. They're 2nd in goals against, a 249. The Sharks 28th in goals for, a 261. 20th in goals against, a 316. Flames 7-1 in their last 8 as a road favorite. They're 5-1 in their last 6 on the road period. They're 10-3 in their last 13 when their opponent scored 2 goals or less. Sharks coming off a 2-1 overtime loss to the Oilers the other night, where Mike Smith, that's called foreshadowing, kids, assisted on the winning goal with a sweeping play with his goalie stick, setting up Connor McDavid on a rush in that contest. The Sharks 1-5 in their last 6 when their opponent allows 2 or less. Like we said, Calgary coming off a 4-2 win over Anaheim. The Sharks 1-6 in their last 7 after allowing 2 or less, and they're 0-4 in their last 4 against the West. As badly as I feel for Ryan in this case, that the Sharks are probably going to lose this game, the fact remains that, sympathy only carries you so far, and it doesn't put games in the win column for anyone.
So here we go. Last night I watched the Lightning and the Capitals play, and I got to tell you, something's wrong with Varlamov, or not Varlamov, Vasilevsky. I mean, he was not anywhere near what he's been like over the past. It was really kind of weird watching it, in real time. You're like, wait a minute, what's wrong with this guy?
What also was weird was the fact that Steven Stamkos took no shots last night.
Yeah.
At all. 0. So
he didn't get the memo.
No, apparently not. I was extremely disappointed in that stellar non-performance.
Or the lack of, yeah.
Yeah, he had an assist, but how do you not shoot the puck?
Well, I mean, that's what he gets paid to do.
Yeah, no, you don't get paid to stand around and watch somebody else shoot it.
No, that would be bad.
Well, we can move on to the other game on the ice. And look at that, it's the Edmonton Oilers. We just talked about how the Oilers beat the Sharks the other night. Now they get to play the Kings at the Crypto Dome. Speaking of which, even though the Kings have struggled of late, they're still the best tenant in the Crypto Dome. I don't know if you saw the game last night with the Clippers, Jim, where they were up 39 points on the Suns and proceeded to win by 4.
Yeah.
So kudos to the Clippers for screwing a lot of people that took the line after the Suns ruled out half their starting lineup. Of course, if you had jumped on it when we talked about it yesterday, the Clippers were only favored by 2.5, so you still would have won. But if you got on it after the fact, when the line was up to 6.5 or 7, well, then you were out of luck, and you can scream obscenities at Paul George and the rest of the Clippers for blowing the majority of a 39-point lead. But in this one, the Oilers 41-25-5. I believe they're 18-7-2 or 18-7-3 under Woodcroft as their coach after firing Dave Tippett. So it's a move that paid off for them. Kings 38-24-10 on the season. They are 18-15-4 at home. So the Kings apparently like playing on the road better than they like playing at the Crypto Dome, which seems to be an ongoing trend for anybody in that building. Mike Smith, 10-9-4, 305 goals against, 898 save percentage. Expected to get the start over Mikko Koskinen for the Oilers. It's supposed to be Jonathan Quick, 17-12-9 with a 266 goals against and a 909 save percentage with 2 shutouts for the Kings. The Oilers 6th in goals for at 348, 22nd in goals against at 318. Kings 21st in goals for at 282, 8th in goals against at 279. The Oilers 5-0 in their last 5 overall, 4-0 in their last 4 when their opponent scores 2 or less. The Kings coming off a 3-2 loss to Calgary the other night. Edmonton 4-0 in their last 4 following a win, which makes sense if they're 5-0 in their last 5 overall. They're 5-0 in their last 5 on one-day arrest. The Kings 2-5 in their last 7 when their opponent allows 2 or less in their previous game, and they are 6-18 in their last 24 as a home underdog. I think Edmonton with McDavid and Draisaitl, they've played well of late. I think they get the upper hand on the Kings in this one. Now I see Euler's asking about the total in the Pittsburgh Rangers game. If you look at recent meetings between those teams, the under is actually 4-2 in the last 10. When they met in the last couple of weeks, the Rangers won 5-1 at home, then won 3-2 on the road last week in Pittsburgh. 2 of the 3 meetings this season have ended up under the total. I'd be inclined to think that this one's going to be a lower scoring game. Pittsburgh's not going to want to play another game like they played against Colorado, losing 6-4. I know Pittsburgh has gone over in 5 of their last 7, but they had 3 unders right before that. Meanwhile, the Rangers have split their last 10 in regard to the total, but 3 of their last 5 have stayed under the mark. They're coming off a 3-1 win over New Jersey. I think this one's going to end up probably 3-2, something like that, and end up short of the number.
Let's go on from Edmonton to our next hockey game. We got.
Actually, we're going to go to the NBA.
Oh, the NBA! My goodness, we're way ahead of going on here.
Do you want to do the? Is there any? We had any promos for them going on with the NBA at the moment?
Not this week.
Okay, I wasn't sure because I know that it changes all the time.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yes, no, we're good. Our next coming attraction in that regard will be baseball on Monday. So come back to us for baseball. But in the meantime, go to Caesars because that's where we want you to go. And also, we'll talk about the baseball guide coming up. But the Bucks and the Celtics. This is an important game.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a bit surprised that Boston ruled out Horford and Tatum. Because, you look at the standings, Boston's 50-30, the Bucks are 49-30. So if Milwaukee wins, they would be 50-30. Boston would then drop to 50-31, and that would flip-flop those 2 in the standings. It would drop Boston to at least 3, if not 4, depending on what Philadelphia does tonight. That would move Milwaukee up to the 2 seed. But like it was mentioned, you won't see Tatum, you won't see Horford, so you're going to rely a lot on Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and guys like that. I like the Bucks, like I said. Before I found out those guys were out, I think this number is going to change. Probably somewhat, I could see it probably going up to maybe 9 or 10. I'll just see if it jumped at all since I did this. Yeah, it's now already 8.5 at most books. So it's probably going to shift some more depending. Boston 13th in scoring offense, 15th in field goal percentage, 14th in three-point shooting. They won't be in action. Like we said, you won't see those guys in action. They played last night against the Bulls. The Bucks are 18th in scoring defense, 11th in field goal percentage defense, 19th in three-point defense. But Milwaukee, this is going to be the interesting matchup. The Bucks 3rd in scoring offense at 115.2 points a game. They're 11th in field goal percentage. They're 4th in three-point shooting. The Celtics lead the league in scoring defense at 104.1. They lead the league in field goal percentage defense at 43.4%. They're 2nd in three-point defense. But you have to wonder, without Horford, without Tatum, and without the Time Lord, Robert Williams III, are they going to be able to contain Milwaukee's offensive attack? I know Grayson Allen is doubtful, but let's face it, he's a role player. You're not talking about Antetokounmpo or Middleton or Holiday or even Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis. The Bucks 8-2 in their last 10 on one-day arrest. The Celtics 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 in the second game of back-to-back. I'm going to go with Milwaukee. I liked it better at 6.5 than I did at 8.5. But, we'll ride with it because it's there. As for Sly, yeah, they could be trying to duck the Nets. I mean, let's face it, Brooklyn can be a dangerous team. We saw it again last night when they rallied from, 21 down in the second half to beat the Knicks. The Knicks showing that they can play basketball for 36 minutes. Unfortunately, they forgot that basketball is a 48-minute game at the pro level. And it happened again. It's the second time we've seen them blow a massive lead when it comes to facing the facing the Nets.
And, I don't know, as we said before, this is, there's 10 days to go. And it doesn't.
Not even the season ends Sunday.
Oh, that's 10 hours to go. We said early in the week that, that Miami just may stumble into first place only because everybody else behind them is in a car wreck.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee would have to win out, and even then, I'm not sure if I'll have to look and see if the Heat have the tiebreaker on them, because if it comes down to head-to-head matchups, I'm pretty sure Miami had the upper hand on Milwaukee this season. And nope, they split 4 meetings.
Hang on a second. We got a buddy who's dropping by. Let's see what's up with Scott.
Hey, it's that guy Scott.
Hey, what's up,
Scott?
guys?
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I actually just stopped by to drop you off a message, Jim.
Oh, okay.
I was just checking on something for our show.
Oh, okay.
Your show is canceled.
Great to be here on opening day. Chris, you got a lot of baseball parlays working today, buddy?
We got a few. We were talking already about how, Corbin Burns, who struck out the 57 guys before he walked the guy that last season, walked the first guy he faced today.
Yeah, we saw that.
So that was a good start.
Well, it's good to get it out of the way. Now he can go and, go 60 innings and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, he doesn't have to worry about the streak. That's like when you start off with a spare in the first frame, you can shoot the next 11.
Right.
You don't have to worry about all the pressure.
And then people just laugh at you because you shot 290.
That's right.
By the way, we had hoped to have some baseball guys for our shows today, but one of them is having a root canal, which is not a good thing. And the other one is on the air at the moment. So our hope is to get them before if not on Friday, back at the beginning of the week. We will get people for our shows. And, Scott, it's always good to have you around. Real quick, we were talking about some of the things that we thought was going to be interesting on opening day and some of the teams that are interesting. Some of the, I know that you got a young team out in Kansas City, but you know what? That team might sneak, ahead of schedule. Sometimes that works that way.
We'll see how the pitching goes. It's all about the pitching taking that next step forward and Greinke having anything left in the gas tank at all. I worry about him being the number one starter. He hasn't made an opening day start since 2010. I just saw that flash across the screen. So those 12 years haven't necessarily been good to Zach Greinke. We'll see, because he was a great fade at the end of last season. We loved fading him for the entire month of September. Yeah.
You don't want to put him on the Royals. That's really sacrilege, my friend.
Yeah, I know.
Do you like them against the Guardians and Shane Bieber today, Scott? Be honest. Take the homer hat off, and
You know what? I think catching them at plus money, I don't hate that. I think it's I pretty much think it's a pick 'em. Although Bieber is I'm watching the game here, and I saw it come across on a cryon that said Bieber's the only guy in Major League history to strike out 14 plus in 2 consecutive opening days. So we'll see how that goes, because
they've got him at over under 6.5 today.
I think over's probably a good play there. That's
what we said too. I mean, I know Kansas City is a good contact lineup, but
yeah, they don't strike out a ton, but they don't hit very well. They're a weird team in that they don't walk and they don't strike out. They put the ball in play, they just don't hit it to the right place. And the wind, by the way, here is rolling in pretty much directly in the face of the right-handed hitters. Anybody trying to pull to the gap, it's going to be right in their face, about 20 miles an hour. It's about 45 degrees here, so it's going to be a raw day out at the K today. So adjust your totals accordingly.
That's your weather on the tubes.
What's that, Jim?
I was just saying, it's one of the best places to watch a baseball game.
We love it. Of course, the latest thing this week is they're talking about trying to build a stadium downtown again, and I don't think our new owner is going to be happy until they get that done. It's going to suck for me because it's about 8 minutes from my house right now, so I don't want to go downtown every time I want to see a game. But then again, I'm old and set in my ways, so crotchety, some might say. Anyway, boys.
Off my lawn.
Exactly.
We'll let you go. Hey, 3 o'clock, everybody.
Glad to stop by and drop off the weather on the nines and Royals. So hey, you guys have a great
appreciate it.
Go hit
All
some
right, Scotty, take care. We'll see you at 3:00.
All right, later, boys.
Bye.
No, he's not here to talk about 80s wrestling. We need to get Rock Riley in for that. Hey, look, Scott's back. No, he left.
Yeah, my fault. He wanted to know if you wanted to talk about he was directing that to you. If you wanted to talk about 80s wrestling.
Yeah, we need to get Rock Riley in to talk about 80s
That's true. We'll get
wrestling.
Rock back and he can regale us on that one. So Golden State and the Lakers.
Does anybody really believe the Lakers are going to do anything? Let's be honest.
All you need to know is fade the Lakers.
Anybody? Bueller? Anybody think the Lakers are going to do anything tonight? Let's face it, the Lakers eliminated from playoff contention.
Yep. They get a version of the home game.
Yep. Knowing them, they'll get a version of the home game with a bunch of missing pieces. Right. They've already ruled out LeBron and Anthony Davis. Oh, and Westbrook. So God knows this line's probably moved from 12 to about 50.
Well, look at the money line. I mean, good God.
I'm just going to take a look and see what it's changed to now, because I didn't realize that when I did this that they ruled those guys out. They were still – okay, apparently it's changed recently because depending on the book, it's 14 and a half, or the Sports Illustrated Sportsbook has it at minus 17 and a half in favor of Golden State. This line opened at 10.
That's a lot of points, though. 17 points is a lot of points to give you.
Hey, tell that to Oklahoma City last night. They played Utah, and Utah beat them by 36.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this line has been moving upward in the last hour. Obviously, nobody has faith in the Lakers. They have even less faith in the Lakers when you consider that it is ruled out their three top players. Just taking a look at what the money line actually is now. It is now minus 1250 at most sports books.
We wish you well, Marlo. We wish you well, my friend.
Yeah, and of course the late Kobe Bryant not playing tonight. Neither is Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Michael Cooper, Byron Scott, Shaq, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich, Elgin Baylor, Karl Malone, Rick Fox, Wilt Chamberlain,
Silky Wilkes. Yeah.
All those guys are out. In case you were wondering. I don't think we need to touch any more on this other than the fact that the Lakers were 9-24 in their last 33 after an ATS win. I don't think they have any luck tonight. Nope.
Let's see what we got here. A quick question from Ninja 13. We'll see who cash, the Braves or the Reds. And if the Reds cash, I'm not sure what that little emoji is.
If the Reds cash, more power to them. I just don't have faith in a team that gutted the middle of their lineup because they don't want to pay anybody. I mean, why would you keep paying Joey Votto if you're going to get rid of all the guys, that surrounded Joey Votto?
Why wouldn't you trade Joey Votto?
Well, I mean, they don't want. If they traded Votto, there'd probably be a revolt in Cincinnati from the remaining fans. But getting rid of Castellanos and Suarez and Winker and Barnhart, you've gutted the middle of that lineup. And I know Suarez wasn't hitting for average, but he still had pop in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Do I like the Mets today? Well, according to Jim, that game might not take place anyway. But honestly, I'm not sold on Tyler McGill as the opening day starter for the Mets because they don't have DeGrom or Scherzer. I know Patrick Corbin wasn't great last year, and I know that the Nationals don't have a great lineup outside of Juan Soto, who might get intentionally walked 55 times in the opening week of the season. Jim, what do you make of the Nats?
I think the Nats are a team that will be playing close to 500 baseball, and I say that because they have there's a core group of young players. This was a year that Mike Rizzo, the general manager, said, and he told the fan base, he said, you know what, we're going to take this year off from the standpoint of we're not going to sign a lot of free agents. What we're going to do is see what we've got and then make the evaluation to spend money, because the Nationals have spent money, a lot of money over the last 10 years, and they've been competitive. I think this year they decided, okay, wait a minute, let's take a beat, let's see what we got. And at the end of that, we can make an assessment. And in 2023, we open the checkbook again and we start spending cash. This is the first year that the Nationals have not signed a major free agent in the last 10 years. And so they didn't do it. They knew that, that the fans were going to get some blowback, but Mike was straight up at the beginning. He said, look, we've got some players we want to evaluate. We could bring in and sign people, but that wouldn't necessarily help. They are also going to try to sign Soto to an extension. They get 3 more years on his deal, and so we'll see how it works. But as far as the Mets, here's my problem with the Mets. And I know that there's a lot of Mets fans out there. I hear from them all the time. And that is, there seems to be some sort of bizarre circle around the Mets where they can't handle success. DeGrom, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, they can't score a run for him. Now he's out because of an injury. You got Scherzer, who's out with a hamstring. I love Max as a person and as a player. He's the kind of guy I will stop whatever I'm doing to watch Max pitch. He's an old school pitcher and a fantastic guy. At the end of the day, I think the Phillies and I think the Braves are better than the Mets. I just think that, prove me wrong. I mean, God knows I've been wrong before. But I really just think that the Phillies, with what they've got, and the Braves with what they're bringing back, they're better. I think, actually, frankly, I think the Braves pitching staff, 1 through 5, is as strong, frankly, as the Mets. I know the Mets at top 2 are great. I mean, these are Cy Young pitchers, no question. I'm not in any way giving shade to them. They're great guys. But the Braves are a more solid team. The Phillies have gotten much, much better. And prove me wrong, Mets. That's all I'm asking. Prove me wrong. We'll see.
And the score after 2 innings at Wrigley Field is 0-0. Corbin Burns has now walked 2 guys without striking anybody out.
Mm-hmm.
He walked Seiya Suzuki in his major league debut at the plate. But the Cubs stranded runners at the corners with 2 out as Patrick Wisdom flies to left. Mm-hmm. Strangely, Kyle Hendricks, a guy who throws about 72 miles an hour, has struck out 4, and Burns has struck out nobody.
You remember LeVar Hernandez? I mean, he threw a ball that looks like it looked like a frisbee coming up there, and I don't think he broke 75 in his final year. He's in baseball, but LeVar, he could get people out. So, just because you don't have that velocity doesn't mean the ball doesn't move.
Well, and speaking of that, I don't know if you saw this last week, Jim, that down in minor league baseball, the Savannah Bananas in the Coastal Plain League brought Bill Spaceman Lee out of the stands after he was drinking beer, and he ended up fanning a guy with his, leafus pitch.
Oh, man.
At 75, wearing a whole shirt.
What a great player he was to watch. Oh, man. The Spaceman. The man who said that his last year in baseball, he had smoked so much marijuana he didn't remember that he even played his last year of baseball. So there's that. So, all right, let's go for 2 for the money. We're running into plus time here with our moving along, but we're having fun. So here we go.
I'm going to go with the Flames over the Sharks. And like I said, I'm taking the Braves over the Reds. I know Ninja's high on Cincinnati, but, Bill Spaceman Lee was high all the time. And, it didn't always pan out for him. So I'm going to ride with Atlanta. I just think that Fried will shut down what's left of the Reds lineup to get the win there. Then the Bucks and the Cards, we talked about already. The Bucks, especially now without Horford and Tatum for the Celtics, and Pittsburgh is just bad.
I'll see the Nationals over the weekend, Ryan. Just checking in there, buddy.
Yeah, Jim doesn't want to go in the rain because they might not play.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow night. You never know. All right, 4 for the show.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Minnesota over San Antonio. It's going to be an interesting one there. San Antonio is in the play-in tournament now. You know, they beat Denver the other day. They've got an injury list about 6 miles long. Doug McDermott won't play. DJ Stewart won't play. Lonnie Walker's questionable. Jock Landale's out. DeJounte Murray's out again with that respiratory infection. The last time these two teams met was in San Antonio last month, and that was the game where Karl Anthony Towns went for 60 in about 3 quarters
Jeez.
in a 149-139 Minnesota win. So if you're looking for points, this is the place to go. It's the Target Center.
Yeah.
But I think the T-Wolves will get the win. We talked about the Lakers already. Of course, that line's gotten a whole lot uglier since we posted this. So thanks for not showing up, Lakers. Yo, James, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you in the house, James, along with Michael, Ryan, Marlo. The whole gang is here today. You,
yeah, I'm going to go with the Predators over the Sens. I know Ottawa's played some good hockey of late, but Nashville, it's going to be UC Saros in net. I think Nashville playing at home will get the win there. And we talked about Edmonton and the Kings. Mm-hmm. I just think the way the Oilers are playing hockey right now, they get the advantage over Los Angeles.
Let's go to the big board to close things out today, big man. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, look at that. The bottom one cut off. That's what I get for having these
Rangers
extra long names.
Yeah,
the Rangers and the Pens. I had the Rangers actually. I picked them to win that game.
We'll start there since we can't see it.
Yeah, it's basically a coin flip. It's a -110. The puck line was large in favor of it's +225 for the Rangers to win by multiple goals. I'm going to go with the Blackhawks over the Kraken. We talked about the Kraken yesterday against St. Louis. They lost, was it 4-1, 5-1? I don't know. They scored 1. I don't expect them to have a whole lot more success playing the second game of back-to-back. I know Chicago's not great. It'll be Kevin Lankinen in the net. But let's face it, Seattle's tired. They just want this season to be over. The Devils over the Canadiens because why not? Montreal's terrible. The Devils aren't great, but they're playing at home, and we've seen them actually beat some teams there. Columbus over Philadelphia. I went the other way with this the other day. Philadelphia lost, and that's when they had Carter Hart starting. They're apparently now starting Martin Jones, who's won, I think, twice since the new year started. Is Verlander washed up due to No, you got to figure he hasn't really pitched in, 2 years?
Yeah, I think in Verlander's case, he's going to be one of those guys who's a 4 or 5 inning guy, and he'll be great if Houston decides to go to one of those opener, things where you throw the bullpen games. Verlander would be great. You give him 3 innings and get him out of there, and maybe once to this, to the thing. Look, he's a fantastic guy. He just has had so many little ticky-tack injuries that it's gonna take its toll after a while.
It'd be interesting to see if they do something like turn him into a reliever like the Braves did with Smoltz.
They could, because if all you want is 1 inning out of Verlander, he can hang 95, 96, for an inning. So yeah, he could do that.
But at 39, like we said, he's made 1 start.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be better as a reliever than a starter at this point.
I agree.
I'm going to go with Memphis with the points over Denver. I know John Morant's still out for the Grizzlies, but Dylan Brooks questionable. Meanwhile, the same guys are out for Denver that have been out for a while. Kankar, Murray, Najee, and Porter Jr., Jeff Green. Questionable, but hey, if Jeff Green doesn't play, they got Jermichael Green. So you still got a guy named Green whose name starts with a J.
What more do you want?
The Pelicans favored by 372,000 points over Portland because Portland has no players. Let's face it, Portland.
How many times have you said that this year?
A lot, especially in the second half of the year.
Yeah.
On Portland's injury report, Eric Bledsoe, Josh Hart, Joe Ingles, Damian Lillard, Nasir Little, Yusuf Nurkic, Anthony Simons, Trendon Watford, Justice Winslow, Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Kiki Vandeweghe, Kevin Duckworth, Jerome Kersey, Cliff Robinson, all out for Portland tonight. So is Bill Walton, in case you were wondering.
I'm thinking the cheerleaders, the bus driver, the manager, the equipment guy, they're all out.
Pretty much. I mean, meanwhile, Brandon Ingram is doubtful for the Pelicans, but Valanciunas is going to play. He was marked as questionable last night, but he is going to play. So New Orleans, they're trying to hold on to at least the 9 seed so they can get at least a home game in the play-in tournament. So look for them to get the win. For some reason, the Raptors are an underdog at home against Philadelphia. It's been ruled that Matisse Thybulle cannot play for the 76ers because you have to be vaccinated to play in Toronto. So apparently he's not. He's been ruled ineligible to play. The big question mark for the Raptors, OG Anunoby, is questionable with a quad bruise. But let's face it, the Raptors play good basketball at home. Philadelphia is still a rather manic depressive team when you get right down to it, because you don't know which way they're going to show up. We saw this team lose to the Pistons at the Little Caesars Arena, and I believe it was last week, and we've seen them blow teams out. So you don't know what you're going to get. They're basically the Forrest Gump of basketball. Life is like a box of chocolates with the 76ers. You don't know what you're going to get. I'll take a team that's more consistent in the Raps, and I'll take the points.
Would you know if you take the Spurs in 8.5?
No, I took Minnesota minus 8.5.
Yeah, I know.
We talked about the Royals when Scott was here briefly. I'm going to take the Guardians. I think Bieber has probably got the edge over Greinke on the mound, like Scott said. Greinke hasn't made an opening day start since 2010. Who knows what he's got in the tank at this point? It'll probably be a low-scoring game based on the weather report we received from Scott, where it's cold and, 45 degrees, not conducive to hitting by any stretch of the imagination. The Nationals, I actually like them over the Mets, but this game probably won't be played according to the weather forecast we got from our esteemed colleague Jim Williams, who said it's raining.
I'm hoping it does. They do play, but it doesn't look that way at the moment.
Is it still raining?
It's you know what? It's not. It's foggy.
Oh, great! So now it's foggy. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Because you can't. It's not like you can blow the fog off.
No, doesn't work that way.
And I'm going to take the Angels with Shohei Ohtani on the mound over the Astros, who are starting. I believe it's Framber Valdez. Kind of weird to hear Framber Valdez being the starting pitcher on opening day, isn't it?
Yeah, especially when we just talked about Justin Verlander a minute ago.
I'm pretty sure it's Valdez. Let me double check to make sure. Yeah.
I don't know about you, and I don't know about the guys in the comments, but when I see that Ohtani's going to pitch, I always watch the game. And the good part is watching this guy. He's just such an infectious kind of, he just loves playing baseball, and you got to love watching him. Whether you like the Angels,
they don't have to take him out when they yank him as a pitcher because there's the DH.
He can rake. I remember last year tuning into a game late, and somebody had stolen second base, and I saw the helmet go in one direction. I saw the arm go in the other direction. I saw the guy who was playing second base trying to make the tag, and I'm thinking, my God, this guy almost got clobbered. And it gets up and it's Ohtani. I'm like, this guy's an MVP, and he's just balling like he's anybody else on the team.
And it's still scoreless at Wrigley after 2.5 innings as Christian Yelich bounces out to first with a runner on second to end.
Is it a nice day in Chicago, or is it just cold?
Only 43 degrees.
How much?
43.
Oh. I remember the first game I ever did was the Cleveland Indians and the Baltimore Orioles at the old stadium in Cleveland, and it was snowing sideways. And I thought, there is no way we're playing a game. And they played. They played in a bloody snowstorm on the first Tuesday in April. And I couldn't, I had gotten there from, I'd just done, of all things, polo in West Palm Beach. And I thought to myself, who did I piss off to get me to Cleveland in a snowstorm in April for this baseball game? And I'll tell you, there's 50,000 people in that ballpark on that day. They were all there.
It's been cheap beer night.
Opening day in a lot of these cities, it's a tradition, and they'll go whether the team is good or bad or indifferent, because opening day is opening day.
Well, they definitely don't stay, because I went to Cleveland Stadium in September of '89, and it was basically empty seat night.
No, don't get me wrong. There were like 7,000 people the next, but there were 50,000 people for opening day. There's that. Look, there was. I remember seeing pictures in 1962, which is the first year the Mets, were in existence, and the late Bill Veeck, one of the great crazy owners of all time, was there with a big sign on opening day, "Wait till next year," and that was a kind of sense of humor that Bill Veeck brought to it.
Ryan, I became a Cubs fan because they were on TV all the time. When I came home from school, they'd be on WGN back in the '80s, back when right after they got Ryan Sandberg and all those guys, back in the '80s.
Back when Harry Carey was on the games.
Yep, and there was no team. We had the Bisons, and we still have the Bisons in Buffalo now.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't have a major league team, so.
Was your closest team Pittsburgh, or was it
Pittsburgh, Cleveland? Oh, they're all about the same distance.
Yeah. So you didn't have a lot to pick from.
No, Cleveland sucked, and Pittsburgh was bad in the '80s, and
and nobody in Buffalo is going to root for the Yankees.
Yeah, and the Braves were always on TBS, but I couldn't get past the southern drawl of Don Sutton rambling on for 12 hours about random.
Or the causticness of Skip Carey.
Yeah, like Ryan said, there was no MLB extra innings back then. There was no MLB TV. You'd watch games on NBC where it'd be Vin Scully and Joe Garagiola.
Bob Costas and Joe Garagiola.
You'd watch Monday Night Baseball with Al Michaels, and I forgot who used to be on with him.
Well, for the first one was Warner Wolf, Bob Prince, and play-by-play guy for the did all the football for college football.
Keith Jackson.
Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson. Keith Jackson did the games. Then, but the B game was Al Michaels and Jim Palmer. And after a while, they thought that maybe Michaels and Palmer were a better A team than the guys they had, and so Keith Jackson stayed with them for a while, doing baseball, and Al Michaels, of course, hang in there for a while. Palmer was there for a while. Bucher was there for a while on baseball, and then CBS got it for a little while. Dick Stockton did the games on CBS, and then Fox eventually took over, and now we're going to have Kevin Burkhardt taking the place of Joe Buck on Major League Baseball on Fox.
Not Kevin Kugler.
No Kevin Kugler on Fox. So sorry.
Your weather story reminds me of in 1999. I was stationed out at Fort Huachuca out in Arizona, and I left the airport in Phoenix in February at 11 o'clock at night, and it was 85 degrees.
Yep, that's about right.
I got to Buffalo the next morning, and it was 10.
I was going to say it wasn't 85 degrees.
But the weather shifts are always entertaining when you go from one place to the other.
Well, when you lose 70 degrees, that's always something to behold.
Yeah, it definitely made things entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, anyway, guys, we're going to have a lot more baseball tomorrow, and a lot of the NBA and NHL, and all kinds of fun stuff. So by all means, come back and see us. Any final questions from the class there, Chris, that we didn't get to that you can see?
Let's see. No, I think we got everything because we talked
Yeah.
about Verlander and everything. The under 4 is looking good in the first 5 innings in the Milwaukee-Chicago game because the weather is not conducive for hitters by any stretch. I mean, both teams have one hit here in the going to the bottom of the third.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody's going to get. I think if you go from entire country, I mean, it's even though it's raining here, the temperature is in the low 50s. So you figure by game time tonight, if they do play, which is I guess possible, then you're looking at probably 50 degrees and a very damp, field, and so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So
yeah, your best odds for looking for runs is probably going to be out west because
yeah,
you got the Astros and the Angels, and then you got San Diego and Arizona, and everybody knows how runs get scored at Chase Field. It'll be Rich and Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, and it's about time that I don't know. I'm not. How many years can Madison Bumgarner pitch and be effective? I think that he's got that Verlander thing going for him now. He might be past his expiration date. We'll see.
That's true. I like the Cardinals over the Pirates, Nathan. We talked about it earlier. I had picks because I just don't have any faith in Pittsburgh's lack of a lineup.
No, look.
You could probably be lining up and hitting third and playing right field, if you go to PNC Park.
Not like Roberto Clemente. I could not do that, or for that matter, the Cobra, Dave Parker.
Dave Parker.
Still one of the greatest throws I've ever seen in my life. I was at the All-Star game that year where he threw out I forget who he threw out at home plate on a rope. He threw a guy out at home plate. That was, I think Garvey won the MVP that year. He was with the Dodgers in the first place.
Well, remember that throw that Bo Jackson made, too, where he gunned the guy down. It wasn't even close.
A lot of people, forget what a phenomenal athlete Bo Jackson was. I mean, he was a legit baseball player and he was a legit football player. That was not and Deion, to his credit, Deion didn't do badly, but he wasn't no Bo Jackson. That's the
I remember when he gunned down Harold Reynolds from the warning track.
Yeah.
And then cut him down.
I asked Harold Reynolds about that once, and Harold said, he goes, I was the most surprised person on the team whenever I was heading home and saw the catcher had the ball. He goes, where did the ball go? He says, I thought I hit the ball hard. I mean, I thought the ball was hit hard. I'm sorry. Not that he hit it.
It said the throw reached Bob Boone in the air in the strike zone, who tagged up by about 3 feet. It said Bo Jackson's throw traveled 310 feet. The amount of time it took Harold Reynolds to run 57 feet.
There was a game, I think, last year where Bryce Harper threw a guy out from right field, and they estimated that Harper's throw was 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, they said that Jackson's throw that particular one was 96, and Reynolds wanted to know who cut the throw off.
No one, Harold, no one. So anyway, guys, look, there is games on TV tonight. You get to see the Braves. They're on ESPN2. And, of course, there's so many regional networks around the country. I'm sure wherever you have a regional network, if your team is playing tonight, they will be on TV. If not, actually, there's some good games tomorrow, opening day. And so we'll have plenty of time to get to some of them as well. So, hey, thanks for joining us on opening day baseball here on the Max Wagers Network on Just Parlays. Chris and I always have fun with you guys. So, look, have a wonderful and safe day. Enjoy Major League Baseball. Be sure to check the show box below. There's 3 things I want you to check out. 1, Caesars, okay, because that's a cool bet. 2, you can get Chris's parlays. All the information on that is in the show box below. 3, you get a free, mind you, free Major League Baseball book. Chris and I have the book. It's 100 pages. It's really well done. A lot of stuff by Chris in there. Check that out. It's free. All you have to do is sign up, click the show box below. So we got all kinds of fun and wonderful goodies for you. So please go down on the way out. Check the show box below. By the way, hit the like button because we like it to be liked. Hit the subscribe button, ring the little bell, and we will see you tomorrow right here on, where else? The Max Wagers Network, Just Parlays with the man, the legend, Chris King. Until that time, everybody, be well.